Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloye in Abuja. Tonight our attention is on one hand, the security situation in Borno State. Some farmers have been killed and the governor of the state has come out to mourn and it's speaking about the reasons and some of the scenarios relating to how the terrorists attacked those farmers. And of course, we'll be hearing more about the crisis in the People's Democratic Party. What is the way forward for perhaps Nigeria's biggest opposition party, and what has become a stalemate in that party? Those get our attention tonight on the program. Stick around with me. But first, before we get into all of that, let's check out some of the political roundup stories. All right, just before we serve you that, let me tell you that the National Assembly Joint Committee on Livestock Development has expressed concerns over the proposed 11.8 billion budget allocation for the newly established Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, deeming it inadequate for the ministry's effective takeoff. The federal government earmarked 10 billion for capital expenditure and 1.8 billion for overhead in the ministry's 2025 budget. During the budget defense earlier today, the minister Idi Maha, along with senior officials and agency head, presented the ministry's financial needs to the joint committee. Take a listen to the minister.
As I'm talking to you, there's availability of food. We also know that it's still prices are still, but they have been stable, and there have some foodstuffs have come down. I have a list here that has shown even from October, November, some prices have come down, some have stable, but by and large, in real terms, when you look at it, by the time you just oppose real terms between the previous years, prices have stabilized. Of course, the affordability index is still a source of concern for government, and that is what we are looking at and trying to see how do we bring it down in terms of nominal terms, in terms of purchasing power of Nigerians. So we are still looking at areas where we are going to ramp up production, and one area is certainly mechanization, and Mr. President has his eyes on that, and we are assiduously going to work to the letter to achieve that mechanization program of Mr. President.
Apologies. That's the Minister of Agriculture, Senator Kerry, speaking about food production in Nigeria. But before we get into our first conversation tonight, let's serve you with political roundup stories.
The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has called on lawmakers to renew their commitment to addressing Nigeria's challenges, urging them to focus on national development and legislative reforms. The Senate President made the appeal today during a plenary session marking the Senate's resumption after the Yuletide and New Year break. Addressing the broader challenges facing Nigeria, the Senate President called for steadfast prayers for peace and unity. He further urged his colleagues to recognize the power of collective intercession in guiding the nation's leaders and uniting its people. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has dismissed a suit seeking to quash the appointments of the current Managing Director and Executive Directors of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, by President Bola Tinubu. Justice Omotosho dismissed the suit for lacking in merit. The plaintiffs, through their lawyer, Okere Kingdom, urged the court to compel President Tinubu to withdraw the nominations of Dr. Samuel Ogboku, Mr. Boma Iyayi, Mr. Victor Antai, and Ifedayo Abegunde as Managing Director and Executive Directors of the NDDC. Delivering his judgment, Justice Omotosho held that the proper party to initiate the case was the Attorney General of the state, being the Chief Law Officer empowered to sue on behalf of the state or appoint a private lawyer to do so. The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Honorable Mojisola Miranda, has visited members of the Lagos Governors Advisory Council, GAC. Honorable Miranda met with members of the GAC alongside other members of the State Assembly at the Lagos House in Marina. Addressing journalists after the meeting, the new speaker says the meeting was convened to brief the council on the activities of the House of Assembly, which led to the removal of the former speaker, Mudashiru Obasa. The registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishak Oloyede, has expressed concerns over what he describes as the misrepresentation of figures in the 2025 budget proposal presented to the National Assembly Joint Committee on Finance on Monday. Fielding questions from journalists on the sideline of an event in Abuja, Professor Oloyede dismissed reports making the rounds that the board spent huge sums on fumigation, meals, among other items in 2024, describing them as misrepresentation of facts.
I will have said no comment, but that will give the impression that maybe what some of you published is correct. I want to say emphatically, without any iota of doubt, that I never presented any budget performance of 2024 before the National Assembly yesterday.
There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Tonight, I'm going to be having some very interesting conversation. But the one that involves lives of people, I think we should begin with it. Today, the governor of Borno said Babangana Zulum has condemned terrorist attack in the Dumba community near Baga in the Kukawa local government area of Borno. Said the governor condemned the attack, which claimed at least 40 farmers and fishermen on Sunday, and called on the officers and men of Operation Heading Kai to track and obliterate the insurgent elements that are operating at Dumba and other similar enclaves in the Lake Chad area. Also, recent terrorist attacks have been reported where two persons said they have been killed and about 30 houses burned in the Chibok attack, and a church also involved there. The senator representing Borno South in the National Assembly, Senator Ali Ndume, is live for us in that area. Senator Ali Ndume, thank you so much indeed. What a sad moment. One would have thought that some of these terrorist attack stories had gone with the years past, but we're seeing some kind of resurgence of these terrorists. What exactly is going on, Senator?
Well, it's, as you rightly said, is the re-insurgence of the insurgency in the whole country, particularly the northwest, where you have the Chukura, and the northeast. Now we have about getting to 6 attacks. It started with Kareto, long time, I think it's end of last year. And then another attack occurred in Sabongari area in Dambua, where I visited last time, including Kauji and Wajirko. Now it happened again in Goza. There was an ambush on Thursday. We lost 6 people. That's why I went to Goza. I'm just coming back. And then hearing what has happened in Tumbutu, where we lost about 40 people. And yesterday, we lost 2 people in Chibok too, in Bazar, and they burned down the EYN church there and burned down almost all the thatched houses. Even the zinc houses was not spared. So there's a kind of reoccurrence of the insurgency, and is increasing. And that's a really source of concern.
A big worry, isn't it? Because for almost 2 years or more, there seems to be a lull, and gradually, I had a conversation with the governor of Borno State the other day. So the conversation has been the rehabilitation and how the communities are going to be re-energized so that people can go back to their communities, the farming communities can go back to farm, and people can regain their lives and go back to their homelands. But now it's getting to a situation where we are now getting worried that some of these elements are coming back. What they were doing before now was that they will attack and run away, attack and run away. But now with this sort of incidents in Dumba, in Chibok, what would you say could be the cause?
Well, I think it is the aftermath of what has happened in Chad, Niger, and our neighboring countries. Cameroon is totally blocked from them, and the insurgents are now moving downward, that is into Nigeria. You can see what is happening in Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, and the Northwest generally. And then, of course, those that were driven away from the Chad fringes of the that is bordering Niger, Chad, have all been driven away, and they are running around trying to scramble for arms, ammunition, and equipment. In fact, in Goza, they came and also carted away some of the goods, not ammunitions, but supplies that is meant for the Nigerian army in a village called Yamtake, where they are. We have a battalion of soldiers there, so the brigade were trying to give them supplies. And the biggest problem we have recently is the issue of saboteurs, where we have infiltrators giving them information. So they ambush the contingent that were going to Jaji with farmers and bicycles. So they carted away the Jega, what we call this tricycle that has open body. And that was why I went right away, acquired replacement for them. So we went home, gathered all the people that were affected, and replenished, and that is to give them back what they lost. And this I am doing intentionally in order to give them confidence and develop resilience, because that's the biggest way, or the best solution to this is to be resilient and stand up for these people. Chibok case have been unfortunate, but before they could arrive there, that is the hunters, the soldiers, these people have done made their destruction, as you can see, and ran away. In fact, those that were two brothers we lost two of them, the same father, the same mother, both senior brother and junior. It's because they are standing up. The Chibok people are known for standing up against Boko Haram. Unfortunately, we lost two people, and before the army could arrive there, they have done this damage by putting on fire, and the fire went quickly because of the season now, where it's windy. But the people are still resilient. They are still there. They want to remain there. All they need now, and all we are calling about from the federal government, for example, once this happens and the people stay back, then NEMA should also come in immediately, rebuild what they can build, or give the people that they are like now, when they need blocks, cement, and the church should be brought up immediately. As you can see, the church is something that you can build overnight, and that was what the vice president and the president, when he was a governor, started, and the president governor continues. But the resources of the state is so lean, and that's why we are saying now, when this happens, the federal government should step in and replace those things that like what I did in Goza. They took away 4 Jega and a counter vehicle. Went and then I replaced them immediately. They took away 40 bicycles. Went ahead and replaced by giving them the victims a token of 50,000 to go and get a bicycle so that they can continue with their life and remain resilient. In Goza's case, those that were ambushed were basically civilian JTF. About 4 of them were civilian JTF. The Nigerian army was so strategic because they got scanty information, and that's why we didn't lose the army, and they immediately were able to chase them away, and they remain on top of the situation. But the public too has to support the army. The federal government has to support Borno State, because what Governor Zulum has at hand is too much for him. For example, within a span of 2 weeks, Damboa is affected. Nganze too, we had an incident whereby they attacked a police station and we lost 2 police officers. And this one is coming day before yesterday. Tumbu is also affected. So the federal government should really support, need to do what I have been saying, that our soldiers are so gallant but they like, the sufficient training, ammunition, equipment, and motivation. These are very important for them to get over this case. I just came back this night. I know what is going on. If you see the situation under which our soldiers are operating, you will pity them. For example, the feeding money for a soldier is 1,500. 1,500, not per meal, but per day. The salary of a private soldier is still 50,000, even though I learned that it has been increased to 100,000. You can imagine that. Yet these people are willing to lay down their lives to do what is actually not their work. Because the Nigerian army are supposed to face this thing. But people sit down in their comfort, and we need more boots on the ground. We need to give them adequate ammunition. We need to give them adequate arms. We need to give them adequate motivation, but they can do it. The brigade general, the brigade commander, the task force commander was always on site. In fact, I had a meeting with him today around 2 o'clock.
So, what are your people telling you? Who are these attackers? Are they the same Boko Haram element? Are they ISWAP? What are these elements like? Are they speaking Fufude? Are they speaking Kanuri? Or what exactly do they look like? What are the natives, the locals? What are they telling you when you went around?
What is happening is, as I told you, this is the result of influx of the people, the ISWAP and Boko Haram that were operating in the Chad Basin fringes. Remember, there are some in Sambisa remnants. There were remnants in the Mandara Mountain. So when they want to launch attack, they were not able to launch attack from those two zones. That is Mandara Mountain and Sambisa, because they were weak. They have been very, very weak. But now they are having support from the outsiders. But what they need is equipment, food, and supplies. So now with the support of those that are speaking Fulfude or Kanuri, that is a kind of reinforcement that they have that enables them to attack our villages. And then the best solution to that is that we should have more soldiers, boots on ground, more information, more intelligence, and most importantly, when I went there, it was after I spoke to the chief of army staff before I went to Goza yesterday, after meeting him in Abuja, that the air support were deployed to Maiduguri. There is a need for more air support in those areas that are affected. It doesn't matter whether they are from Niger or whether they are even heaven, if they are insurgents and we are ready and our Nigerian forces are ready and you give them what it takes, they are ready to face them. So the time I came, even there is information coming to the brigade commander in Goza. He got information that they may likely attack Goza, but he says he's waiting for them and he's ready for them. That is because he has intelligence and he has what it takes to protect Goza. And I was telling him, are you sure? He said, no, these boys will take them out. You can imagine that.
But Senator, so the reason why I asked that question of the language they speak is so that also the military can be well informed as to the identity of these people. Are they foreigners? Are they strangers who come into our land, kill our people, terrorize our people and run away? Or they are the locals that are being, they are being disillusioned and are being, given these terrible ideologies to attack their own people in the manner in which they. I wanted to wanted you to identify whether the locals are saying these are people that we know, because as a reporter that had covered Maiduguri, covered Yola, covered Adamawa before, I do know locals have told me that these are some of our children who, for some reasons, they go away for several weeks, they come back and they come and attack their own people. What exactly are the locals saying to you? Do they identify some of them? Maybe they look like the Boko Haram they've wiped out before or not.
As I told you earlier, nobody can come out, whether they are Kanuri or Fulani, to come to Goza, for example, if they don't know anything about Goza, if they don't have anybody that will recce and give them information. I've confessed that they get information from the criminals among us, and they connive with the Boko Haram that are still hanging or hibernating in the Mandara Mountain that were weak now. But they are attacking more now is because it's like they have reinforcement from those that were driven from the Chad region, and normally they will be speaking Kanuri or Shua or Arab. That is it. But what I'm saying is a criminal is a criminal. It doesn't matter whether he is white, black, Kanuri, Igbo, or whatever. Once enemy is an enemy, you take him out. But unfortunately now I can confess to you that within us, there are saboteurs that share information or provide them information, especially with those that have old link. But our people now are saying the enemies are within and they are going to do something, and they are going to search them and they are going to take action. That is the promise I got from them. And I encourage them, and they are resilient. They say they are not going to allow the situation in 2014 repeat itself again, where some youngsters like them will come overrun a town and declare it a caliphate. They said they will not. They promised me. I was very happy, and I felt happy that I went to support them, encourage them.
So, I mean, we can say, Senator, that for some reasons, some of the corridors around the fringes of our borders are still very porous and are still very dangerous because of the operation of these elements, isn't it?
Yes. Our border, I must confess, is so large. Damboa alone is one of the largest, like Damboa. In the 774 local government we have, Damboa is one of the largest landmass. You go to Kukawa, you go to a part of northern Yobe, it's very large. So manning our borders, let me tell you, for now, is not just work. But with technology, and that is why I say arm the Nigerian army. Now there are drones. Drones can be sent on surveillance, and then it can be there for 6 hours or more. And then you bring back that one and send another one, and have a kind of situation room. The Nigerian army, in combination with the Air Force, if they have enough aircraft on ground, in fact, if we have enough aircraft at the theater. Right now, we don't have enough aircraft at the theater, northeast, and that is because the Nigerian army is dealing with another problem in northwest, and they have to send some of their platforms there. We understand, but if we can have more attack helicopters to the Nigerian army and the Air Force, this problem will reduce, because you can go around easily. Is a desert. If you do patrol, you see suspicious movement. If you have drones, you see suspicious movement. And we have thermal cameras that can run 40, 50 kilometers. If you put them, place them properly, and these are sometimes off-the-shelf items that you can bring and give the army. If you give the Nigerian Army, Air Force, Police, and Navy, even in the lecture, what it takes, they can take care of these people.
So, Senator, can you confirm to us there are still parts of Borno State that some of these elements are still taking control of?
Not control, but they are moving freely, in the sense that the Nigerian army are there. Not much civilian. In the northern Nigeria and northern Borno, I know that. But in Borno South, there is no place in Borno South, that is my senatorial district, that I know that is under control of Boko Haram. But I know that in this Borno South, on the Mandara Mountain, we have Boko Haram still hibernating there, coming down one time or the other to come and steal, or to follow a route to escape, or get supplies in connivance with the locals, some of the locals. And that's what we are trying to address. But in my local government, for example, from Kirawa, that is bordering Cameroon, but the Cameroonian border is sealed to them. And those that are in the mountain are like kind of trapped. They don't want to come down. And they only come down to steal, mostly. Now they don't even attack. The one that happened was an ambush in Goza. They ambushed people that were going to Jaje in order to get firewood and supplies in there. And the Nigerian army were giving the people escort to go and get whatever they want. Unfortunately, as I said, they got an insider information. They planted AIDs And that was what happened. So when the vehicle that was carrying the Nigerian army supplies got there, they detonated the bomb. And of course, the Nigerian army took their cover and they had their truck trying to chase them away. So there was a kind of game there where we, as I said, lost 5 people to AID, and the other person was caught in a crossfire. What was the army were up to them. In fact, it was the Jaji soldiers that came to the spot. Then the Goza contingents followed up and gave them.
Senator,
the army are doing a wonderful job, but they don't have what it takes. They don't have enough equipment.
Quickly, let me because I need to ask you a few questions about some national issues, especially because I know you belong to the Appropriations Committee and the budget defense is ongoing. Let me ask you quickly, what is your biggest fear about what these terrorists and the manner which things are going? If care is not taken, if we don't move fast, what do you fear the most, and what do you think should be done urgently to turn around what has become a major New Year attacks by these terrorists?
Well, let me say that the budget, as I've seen it, is a very ambitious one, and the president even named it like that, some of our colleagues, but it's practicable. All I'm saying is that we should place our priorities very well. Now the government has prioritized security. Let us make sure it's implemented. In fact, my own view is that the budget for the security armed forces, Nigerian Army, police, Navy, should be on the first line charge. That is what America is doing. They call it non-discretionary spending. You don't have to be running to Minister of Finance for your money. The money for the Nigerian Army should be a first line charge. Once the time is there, if they are releasing funds quarterly, give them their money. Divide the total amount for the Army, divide it by 12, and every month they don't have to ask. Give them the money, let them go and do the job. The budget is ambitious, but the implementation is the problem. Even this budget now, the president had to extend it by 6 months. You know why? The implementation level is very, very poor. Meanwhile, all of the recurrent expenditure has been spent. Unless we change this attitude of spending discretionary income, or emphasizing more on spending discretionary income than non-discretionary expenditure, as the American system call it. Now their priority is security and welfare, healthcare. You don't touch that money. But in Nigeria, reverse is the case. People get money and for things that are not important. What is not important? What is in the budget there? The most important one is capital. And if the Nigerian Army or whoever or other agencies don't get their money for capital, then that is a problem. That is a problem with the last year's budget. Up to now, the money for recurrent and non-recurrent expenditure have been spent, and yet you have to spill over the capital side of it. That means, God knows, you will be running a budget. They will start spending that of 2025 now. But the capital releases will be delayed as usual, and the president really needs to do something about this. Otherwise, we keep on budgeting. But the Nigerian Army, for example, will not get the money. Even the Nigerian Army budget is 25% implemented, not 100%. How do you expect them to perform?
But I mean, in all of what has been projected by the president. And I know that you're a very strong critic of this president, whom you are. I mean, interestingly, I saw you all smiles when you met him at the on Friday at the mosque.
Don't start this. I'm not a strong critic of Mr. President. Don't give me that name, please.
But you criticize policies that you don't like of this government.
I'm not criticizing the president. I'm criticizing policies. You are supposed to know that English better than myself.
So you're a critic of the government, but not a strong one. That is what you're saying.
No. I'm not critical of the government. It's our government. I can see Oga Bode just there. You are trying to give him an opportunity to hit us. He's from the PDP. With all due respect, sir.
Senator, my question right here is that I see you were all smiles with the president. Perhaps there was something that the president told you. Maybe since you said you have not seen him in a long time, did he tell you, Ali, the notorious Ali, was that what he was telling you? I was trying to read the lips in that picture, but
No, President is my man. President is one of my mentors. He only said that you are not coming to the villa. Why? I say, Oga, you didn't ask me to come. He said, you can come tonight. I said, no. And then he said that he's attending our daughter's wedding because I gave out my daughter that day on a wedding, even though it coincided with the Nigerian Army Remembrance Day. So after the ceremony, I was expecting him to leave. Then we'll do the wedding, where I'm the one that is going to give out the daughter. He says he's not going anywhere. He's going to attend the wedding. And that was what actually happened. And see, all my critics, I don't criticize my elders. Oga Bode George there is a retired general. I am a son of a soldier too. We know, like in the barrack, we respect our elders. We respect our seniors. Tinubu is my senior. I respect him, but I disagree with him in some cases. In order, hoping for us to agree for the better of Nigeria. But he is surrounded. I don't want to use another word that will cause me suspension. But he is surrounded by. You
should not be afraid of suspension. You've been suspended time and time again.
I'm not afraid of suspension, but all I'm saying is, even you now, you are saying that I'm criticizing Tinubu. I've never criticized Tinubu. I will never criticize Tinubu, but I will criticize the policies. I criticize policies of Buhari. I'm closer to Tinubu than Buhari, but
Oh dear. What's happening to your network, Senator? All right. Let me hope that we'll get Senator Alindume back. But for what happened yesterday, a detachment of policemen and operatives of other security agencies were deployed to the Wadata Plaza housing, the National Secretariat of the main opposition party, the PDP, to maintain law and order when Senator Sam Ayawu, the embattled National Secretary of the party, who a lot of people said went against the order of court or the ruling of court, resumed office. And he's saying that he is the rightful occupant of the National Secretary's seat. Tonight, I'm being joined also by Chief Olabode George, who is live for us. Thank you so much, Chief Bode George.
Thank you, Shiv. It's always my pleasure.
Thank you. I see that Senator Alindume is on frozen now. Let me round up quickly with him and I'll come back to you. Senator Alindume, I see that you're back. For a moment, your network was frozen. And I wanted to wrap up with you to say, what do you fear the most, Senator, about this budget? Perhaps one thing that the president needs to look at, because a lot of Nigerians have high hopes for the new year, for your party and President Tinubu to meet the expectations of Nigeria. What must be tackled, and the low-hanging fruit, what would that be for you?
Well, I have always said it to Mr. President, implement the budget. You don't have budget. What budget means is the capital aspect of it. Implement the budget and Nigerians will be happy. And concentrate on two things. And that is the purpose of government: security and welfare of citizens. Then any other things come after that. But at the moment the president continues to listen to these guys around that are feeding him with World Bank and a prescription and all that, it will end up killing Nigerians.
That's Senator Alindume in his element, as always, fearless. He says his mind. But he's not with me here in the Abuja studio, where he always makes trouble here in our studio with me. But he's far away there virtually. So he can't do anything to me, no matter what I say to him. But thank you so much, Senator Alindume.
So that's why you are trying to insult me by saying I'm criticizing my president.
But are you not a strong critic? You're the notorious Alindume.
No, let me tell you one thing. I cannot even criticize Oga Bode George there. That I don't know how. You know, the person that is PDP, this thing, they started PDP, and it seems he wants to die in PDP, because whatever you do to him, he's just PDP. It doesn't matter who you are. Oga, they salute you, and please leave PDP and come to APC, and then go to and body and fix it up for us if there is anything that needs to be fixed.
All right.
With respect.
Senator Ali Ndume. Always causing trouble. Thank you so much, Senator Ali Ndume. Thank you so much indeed. I appreciate it.
My pleasure to him too.
Chief Bode George, you have been invited to the APC by Senator Ali Ndume. He's a leader of the APC. Are you considering that, Chief Bode George?
No, not at this age of life. I have run my race. I have made my impact. I joined politics for one particular reason. You know, the founding fathers of our party got together. They looked at the problem we were having as a nation and came up with a concept that adopted both the majority people, tribes, the minority tribes, to have a sense of belonging for unity of this great country. And that was what made me to join the PDP. It's a hell of a lot of difference between our party concept and the APC. We, the founding fathers, conceptualized, haven't realized the problems we face in the pre-First Republic, the First Republic and the other republics, and came up with the idea that, look, the major problem we had was the majority tribe had their way, the minority tribes were just mere onlookers, and that perpetuated the lack of growth of our country. So for many years, those who are practitioners came together, led by Papa Alex Ekweme, and said, look, let's divide Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones. 3 up, 3 down. And then they came up also with the 6 top positions in the land. Every zone will go home with one of the positions. And those positions will be rotated amongst the zones and will also be made. If the president serves 8 years from the north, after 8 years, another president will come up from the south. And so you cannot be a member of an organization and perpetually your tribe, which you didn't decide before you were born. You just came as a human being. And what you will not accept from anybody else, don't do it to another person. So that sense of oneness, that sense of belonging came about with that concept of zoning and rotation. So take your time. There's no need for any quarrel. Let's contribute. Let us manage ourselves. Let's continue to have this oneness, this togetherness.
So Chief Bode George, invariably, the open ticket and invitation Ali Ndume has given to you tonight, you are rejecting it. Is that what you're saying? You'll never be in the APC, that's what you're saying?
When I live here, now I'm on the 8th floor of life. When I live there, I am heading home. You know, join my grandchildren and now be paying a draft and enjoying myself until they call my flight. So I cannot be in a political party that doesn't have the same concept or procedure like the PDP.
But do you still hold any grudge against, your political, it's been your, how would I describe it now? Not only an opposition, you've spoken strongly against him. You never wanted him to be president. You opposed him strongly in Lagos. Yeah. Is it because of him? Yeah. If he was not in the APC, a lot of your friends had gone to the APC. If he was not your friend, maybe you would have. If he was not in the APC, would you have considered going to the APC? I'm talking about Bola Tinubu, the president.
No. Look, I have a lot of friends too who are members of the opposition, you know, and the APC. Some of our old top people have moved in down there. But I am telling you, you know, as a retired soldier and having been in an organization, the military, that taught you to be your brother's keeper. Because when you go to war, The next man to you may be a Fulani man, another man on your right, an Igbo man, a South man, and tribes don't matter. We were trained and mentored to keep ourselves like brothers, because you can't win a war if you are divided by tribe or by religion. These two issues, these two devils, have no play in the maintenance and sustenance of our nation. It hasn't got anything to do, because the day you were born, you didn't tell the Almighty God that, look, I want to be a Christian, or I want to be a Muslim, I want to be an Igbo man, or a Yoruba man, or a Hausa man, Fulani man. It has nothing to do with it. You just came, and you have your process of development, and in the tracks of it. I always tell people, the British left two evils when they were going: tribalism and religious bigotry. They didn't have, those two issues have nothing to do with our developmental procedure. For example, my immediate older sister, married a Muslim. She was an Alaja. I mean, herself and her husband, I sent them to Mecca. She remained my sister until she passed away. So the religion has nothing to do with all these things we are saying. And if you look at the Holy Bible and some of the parts of the Quran, they are the same. They are the same in terms of human development. You respect for other human beings. Things you don't want, don't do it to others. So it has nothing to do. Even your tribe.
Judge, apologies, sir. Permit me for just a moment. I need to go on the break. But when we come back, I would like you to give us an insight. What is happening in your party? If the malaria or the disease doesn't look to want to go away, then I also would like to know, the speaker in your state, Lagos, has been removed, and there is another speaker, joyfully, a woman. I'm glad about that. I'd like to get your view on that, but that's after we return from this break. But before we go, I'd like to get our viewers to know our quiz for today. And the question is, in the 2011 elections, what technological method was introduced to reduce electoral fraud? Is it A, real-time results transmission, or B, biometric voter card readers, C, election monitoring apps, and D, online voter registration? What is your answer to this quiz today? Getting to know what your views are when we return from this break, everyone. Chief Olapode George is a member of the People's Democratic Party's Board of Trustees, and he's been speaking with us. He's on the program tonight virtually. Well, there was a resumption of Senator Sam Anyanwu, who says that the matter is at the Supreme Court. The party is saying something else, and Senator Anyanwu is saying something else. And there is the man the court says should be installed as the National Secretary. Chief Body Judge, what is happening to your party? Another stalemate in this regard. The issue of the national chairmanship has not been resolved. Now is the National Secretary. A conundrum of some sort. Where is your party headed? When will this disease be healed?
As a scientist, when you have a little disease and you don't arrest it or cure it pretty early, it spreads and it can be cancerous. That little problem we had during the last national convention that started, some of us at the national, the NEC meeting, executive council meeting, we warned, please be careful. We warn IU. What you are trying to do will disintegrate this party, would disrupt the normalcy, the decency, the togetherness of this party, where all those founding fathers gave so much. Ekweme was the Papa Ekweme was the man who conceptualized it, who invited the people to establish the party. He contested 2 times for presidential election. He didn't win. He didn't bring down the roof. He did not. He followed the procedure as laid down by these people. We were the next sets of people that they handed over this procedure for. We kept it going. I remember one night when we had a meeting about 2:00 in the morning. That was when Baba Obasanjo was leaving, and then the question came, who should be the presidential candidate? You know, we were 4 of us at that meeting. Baba was saying, somebody there had, I won't mention his name, was so adamant, was saying, oh, he should come from the south and this and that. I remember the statement he made that, listen, I am running my 8th year and going away. The next president must come from the north. He can't come from the south. Tell your man that he should come as a deputy to the presidential candidate. And that's how the whole thing stopped. But if you start to manipulate, this is what we now get. You know, like I said, like a little stop, it started. Now is now spreading to be a cancer. But I want to plead with all those elders, the elders in the party. It is time now for them to wake up and save the party. Now, the issue of Iron, they've been having, disturbances and quarrels and all sorts of things. There's no need for any manipulation. If the court has told Iron truly, we still have a national legal advisor, he can check with the Supreme Court what is exactly the situation, because I have called to find out what is going on, and I'm told that the Supreme Court has given a stay of action on the judgment by the Court of Appeal. But if people perpetuate themselves and think that they can, be the Mr. Know-it-all, the owner of the party, no individual owns his party, for God's sake. The man who co-founded, who invited people to come and listen to his theory, tried 2 times to be president. He didn't win. So I am not a legal officer, but we have a national legal advisor. Is it true that the Supreme Court has given a stay of action on the ruling by the Court of Appeal? If that is yes, everybody should stay
But Chief
out.
Judge, let me bring this. Let me bring this conversation in this manner.
Right.
Where there seems to be no political solution, and legal solution also has invaded the matter. And the Yorubas will say, I'll say it in Yoruba, that I'll try to interpret it in English. The Yorubas will say, Agbakiwa loja kori omo tuntun wo. It means that rarely would you find elders in the marketplace and you find the head of the infant being twisted. That means that the elders always come at the instance of trouble or distress to salvage the situation. So one will imagine, are there no Agbas, the elders in the PDP, such that the head of the infant is twisting and turning, and the party is the Igbijibis are all over the party, and the problem is the party seems to have gotten a bloody nose and it's not gotten itself. What exactly is going? Where are the elders? You are a member of the board of trustees. What are you and your friends in the BOT doing? The party is losing its shape and character.
Its team.
George,
it is losing its team. I have spoken most often about the need for the board of trustees to come out. But when you now have the board of trustees self-divided on this same issue that led us to the madness we had for the last presidential election, this is where they've lost the steam. Some of them have lost their luster. They have lost the values for which this party was established. So everybody is sitting and looking. Some of us that is talking, let us do what is right. Let's do what is just. So these interlopers that jumped in from nowhere, trying to manipulate this, manipulate that. I just spoke with some of our leaders again. That listen, we're heading to another primaries. We're heading into another, some zonal committees, zonal executive committees are being established. They've started to manipulate the system. What is going on with our people? For God's sake, all the old men that sacrificed their lives will not be rest in peace.
Let me
There's
ask
no
you,
human
Chief
being
George.
that knows it all.
Let me
We
ask
have
you, if the situation is looking so much like a bleak situation, and there seems to be a difficult way to resolve it. Sometimes there are those who have analyzed the PDP problem as that if this person is not in the rank of the PDP, we will not have a problem. If this person just does this, maybe there won't be problem. You are an elder. You say you are in the 8th floor. It means that there's perhaps no person that you cannot speak to or speak truth in that sense. I mean, who are you afraid of, Chief George? At this age. If you want to speak the truth, the nation is watching. A lot of millions of people are watching. Who do you think is the problem of your party today?
I cannot bring that up here. We had been discussing in-house. We had been trying to refine the party from within. You know, when you have a family problem, you don't go to the marketplace and start to disrobe yourself. No, that's not the way it's done. It's like Ndume, you know, a distinguished senator who said, there are areas where they will have these problems or that problem. It is human. It is natural to have these differences. You can disagree without being disagreeable. It doesn't mean you have to bring the roof down. It doesn't mean you have to. Let us debate. Let's discuss. Let us look at the fundamentals of the thing. Is there any party? Look at the United States. You saw what happened before the former speaker, how he was removed, and then the speaker that came, how Trump, they didn't believe that Trump would win. He now won. You listen to the prosecutor, what he said, that it was the vote of the people that saved Trump from going to prison. You will have problems. Even in England, you can see the hula balloon that are going on. In Germany, they're having an election, general election in February. Now, the lady who is leading the opposition party today, her own father was appointed a judge by Hitler. She's now back on the saddle telling people that the second in command of the second party in contention is saying he's going to expel all those immigrants. And if you look at it, it's not only in Nigeria, but we can handle our own. Our own is so not the philosophical part. It's purely the differences and the aggrandizement that I am this, I can do this, I have the money, I have individual owns the party.
Chief George, have you spoken to Atiku Abubakar in this matter? Is it the problem? Is it Yensom Wike that is a problem? Who of them is a problem? Because
look,
analysis.
If I tell you publicly that A is the problem and B is the problem, I will be undermining the principles of the party. They are all problematic people, and we are trying to talk to A and talk to B to reduce your personal ambition, reduce your personal wishes. Let's talk as Nigerians. There was something that they manipulated during the last convention, and like I told you, it started like a little full stop. Now has grown into a cancer.
Chief George,
unfortunately, continue.
Yeah, because of time, I need to take you to Lagos. I know you'll be as passionate about Lagos as you are with the PDP. You saw the event of yesterday. You saw there are those who are linking what has happened to President Bola Tinubu and his political structure, and there are those who are tacitly said, "Oh, look, Chief George, why don't your party look at how Bola Tinubu resolve his problem in the APC in Lagos, and you people can copy and use it in the PDP?" What did you say? What would you say about what happened in Lagos yesterday? The removal of the speaker.
Immediately I heard and read about what the speaker did, the way he treated the executive governor of Lagos State, at the presentation of the annual budget, it was despicable. It was dishonorable. You know, yes, there are three equal branches of government, but that doesn't mean it's the same party. You know, the same party. There are still structures. There are leaders. And the way he treated the governor, I said, this young man is going to run into a problem. Disrespecting him, they stood there for hours without even allowing him to present his budget. That's an infringement. That's a direct insult to the executive governor. No, nobody will accept that. You remember, it happened in our party when Naba was the speaker, and some people in our party were manipulating Naba to impeach Papa Obasanjo. There were good people. You know, the former governor of Rivers, Odili, played a massive role in fighting back to ensure that failed. And in England, I remember when the Conservatives were there, the speaker was a member of the Conservative Party. He was hammering most of the prime ministers, and because he knew he wasn't going to stand for the election. Otherwise, they were ready to throw him off from the seat. The same thing in America. You remember they just did an election to elect a new speaker, the speaker, to renew the mandate for him. It was a hell of a lot of fight. But I had met this speaker once on the aircraft, this young man who had been impeached now. I didn't know he knew me. He came to me. We were on the flight on the British Airways. And he greeted me, and, you know, in the traditional way, I said, "Oh, my son, get up. What's your name?" He said, "He's the speaker." I said, "I'm a right honorable speaker.
Right.
I've never met you. You are so courteous." But then you would expect the same culture exhibited by him will be transmitted. I'm sure the governor is older than him. And
Chief Judge,
whoever, you can see all those. I wish that young lady well.
Yeah, I wish her well. Thank you so much, Chief Judge.
This is real politics.
He's the chieftain of the PDP and a member of the board of trustees.
And
thank you so much. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Let me just say this before I take my leave. It is good for our party to have the experiences we are having, and you will see that the Iroko party, solid party with deep-rooted taproots, will fling back.
All right. Thank you, Chief Judge. We are totally out of time.
People think it is
thank you, sir.
A joke. We will come back.
Let me flash the answer to the quiz to you. The answer is biometric voter card readers. But that's how we end the program tonight. Many thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm sure Akimale. I'll see you next time. God bless you.